Electoral Commission, so to speak. There's a lot of value being placed on this. Will it be a game changer? We'll interrogate that here on Joint Caucus. Then also, there's a key matter of the Inter-Ministerial Task Force. They've been doing their job ruthlessly, without fear or favor. They've been indeed arresting people, including DCEs across the country. Well, the Chinese themselves seem to have, they've got a message. They are parking the bags and leaving the country, and they're doing it voluntarily. Is it success? As far as the foresight, the vision, some may say, of President John Mahama is concerned, or maybe, as the MPP have said, well, this is much ado about nothing. And indeed, they've talked about human rights violations. Some indeed have said people were killed, equipment burnt, etc. We'll interrogate that as well. Then finally, we can't end without commenting on something that happened today. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously in favor of the man that the NDC one time indeed called names. People have said, well, he became an outcast. Now he's won a very important case, a case that he started as an attorney general. When he left, indeed sacked, he still continued. He won the case today, indeed, parts, indeed. He won some, he lost some. We'll be talking about that when, indeed, we start our show. Let me start quickly. I have been joined by a good friend of mine. I've not met him for a while. He's called Alex Segbefia. He is a leading member of the NDC. I've also been joined by a man I've seen on television, and I told him about it. He says, well, the man I saw on telly was just his twin brother. He's called Gary Marfo. Yes. Thank you very much. He's a member of the MPP legal team. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on Joint Caucus. I want to start with you, Alex. I'm sure you followed the Supreme Court proceedings quite closely. And I was driving at the point in my intro about the outcome of the KPMG report, clearly from what is happening, to the extent that Addison could not continue his cross-examination because he was awaiting the outcome. Tachu did same, ended by said, listen, I'm ending because I'm waiting for the outcome. How much rests on this particular audit? How much? Is it a game changer? Will it be a game changer if the result comes out for anybody?
Well, you can't make that kind of an assessment. That is well within the realms of the judges, technically. So, as to how much of a game changer it will be, rest in their bosom. But we believe that it will be quite a significant issue within this case. And the reason for that is that the case of our opponents, the MPP, has always been that they have brought in a certain number of pink sheets which tabulate to a certain figure which must be deducted from an overall figure, which then either means that nobody won or they won. Now, if all of a sudden that figure changes and the preliminary report, which has been mentioned in the papers, and I stand to be corrected, says that whereas they were talking of 11,000 odd pink sheets, the numbers of paper pink sheets that were counted were in the region of about 13,000 odd. But because of duplications, triplications, quadruplications, sextuplications, you actually have individual pink sheets in the region of about 9,000. Now, if you have a difference of 2,000 pink sheets, what exactly is your case? That's the first point. What exactly are you asking the Supreme Court to do? Because all the figures and everything you have brought would appear to be out the window if there is that difference. Because are we going to sit back and wait for them to now go and do the recalculation of the figures and of the constituencies to then come back and say, well, by the way, we didn't do this. We've now subtracted this amount. And the courts don't work that way. You are a petitioner. You come to court. You have to be clear about what your case is so that people can respond to it. So just on that basic note, it would appear that if those figures that we are talking about turn out to be correct, then it demonstrates that the petitioners don't know what their case is. And therefore, there's even a basis to say, throw it out. Because as you can see, everything, there are petitions that, oh, this figure doesn't, this pink sheet should be thrown out. This pink sheet thrown. So why should we now give you the latitude of bringing a whole case to court, not forgetting, and let me just be layman about it, the EC is being accused of making mistakes in an exercise that took 3 days in 26,000 polling stations, pink sheets. You have 11,000, and we are in the 5th month, and you still haven't got your figures right. It is not an exact science. People, even when you look at the case law worldwide, there is going to be a certain latitude for some minor errors. Not if it's a lot, yes, by all means, make your case. But at the moment, every category that has been put forward and the answers that have come out, at least in examination in chief, both from, firstly from Asiedu Nketia, Honorable, the General Secretary, and now from Dr. Afarijan, the Electoral Commissioner, it's very clear that there is a clear explanation for every single item. You now add this difficulty, and the question is, look, they were so adamant. The primary witness for the respondents, Dr. Bawumia, was clear. We have made our calculations on 11,000 blah, blah, blah. And he was asked, and he stuck by it. No latitude. He gave no latitude. In the same way, anytime they tried to explain or get him to understand that perhaps you could look outside the pink sheets to have some form of an answer. No. He stuck to his guns. Pink sheets, this is the gospel according to pink sheets. I'll come back to that subsequently as to this particular gospel. But if you take such a rigid stance, then why is it not open to the court and to the respondents to say, we are also taking a rigid stance on what you have presented, and we are saying to the court, actually, we don't know what we are here for because we have nothing to answer, because you don't even know your own case. That is as far as it can go. That is taking it to its logical conclusion based on the way and the animosity. And I should say that the judges have done an extremely good job in a very difficult circumstance. Both sides of the parties, MPP and EC, you can see the acrimony, the difficulties, the badgering.
And it's something we're talking about, because something happened this week, some people say it's unprecedented, that the judges at some point actually actually gave the final warning that if this happens again, I'm talking about conduct of lawyers involved in the case, people are going to either be cited for contempt, sent to the General Legal Counsel for punishment, or walked out of court outright. We'll talk about that in detail because that's a key point. Okay. But respond to a number of the things you talked about, because clearly, and from what we've heard in court, your party say you're sticking by the 11,000 excess.
Everyone's good evening, and good evening to your cherished viewers. It's been refreshing and interesting listening to my senior, Mr. Alessandro Fia, speaking here. You see, this whole hullabaloo about pink sheet count, how did it emanate in the first place? You see, Evans, there's something very basic in the way that the law is practiced. When you file processes in the court, you are served by the bailiffs. In that instance, well, the registrar will cause everything to be fed on the other party. Now, when you are served, you must make a count to be sure. And whatever you are served is in tandem with whatever is on affidavit. You know, the EC refused service because, according to the EC earlier on, they were short served with documents. So they even declined service. And they were subsequently served. It's very basic and fundamental that if, for instance, the figure that you were served were even less, you go back to the registry of the court and then you inquire from them, look, we've been short served with certain figures, so please, can we have it? And then you are served. But our brothers came to the court to come and complain.
I think I have to go by explain that it's different in this case.
Well, they came to complain. And upon the complaint, now we reach a stage where they say they should go and do what? An auditing of the pink sheet. It's fair and good. I mean, what is the auditing going to do? The auditing is going to audit, first of all, the numerical strength of the pink sheet supplied. And then two, the various heads of the irregularities. Voting without verification, same serial numbers, all the blah, blah, blah. You're going to take care of all those things. Now, when this is done, at least, you know exactly, the complaint, where each of them fall. You can say, look, voting without verification, the number is this figure. I've always been saying, that the most critical point at this matter is to look for pink sheets with problems on them. Not just pink sheets. Pink sheet with problems on them. Pink sheet with the complaint that is before the court. Not just go and count just any pink sheet for counting pink sheet's sake. Now, if you say even some, what they said that some of the pink sheets, the box have even increased. The order of the court was to go and count pink sheets, not to go and count boxes. But the
boxes contain the pink sheets,
you see, and
the argument we were making was that you added not you, that's not fair, but somebody for some reason have increased the boxes from 24 to 30 something.
Ivan, that was a very mischievous allegation. You know why? The location where these pink sheets are being kept, the key is not kept by NDC. The key is not kept by MPP. The key is in the bosom of the registry of the court. Now, if we make an allegation that, well, some figures have been increased, I mean, the question that you are trying to impugn something on the court itself, or the registry of the court itself, because none of the parties is keeping the case. And so how did they, in fact, if the allegation is true, how did those boxes get into the place? And was there any auditing before the so-called count? There was none. There was no auditing. There was no auditing of ballot of boxes.
The NDC says indeed there was.
There was no auditing.
Can I just make a clarification for my colleague? There were 24 categories, and there were 24 boxes. So each box came according to the category.
No.
Wait, in terms of the categories, so there were 3 lawyers to be served, 3 respondents. The first lawyers got 24 boxes, and that was the lawyers for the NDC. The lawyers for the EC were served with about 17 or 18. They rejected them because they made inquiries with the lawyers for the NDC, and the lawyers for the NDC said, we had 24 boxes. Said, no, we don't want them. The lawyers for the president also got 17 or 18. Whereupon they wrote and said, we've got only 17 or 18, we need the rest. And they were brought the rest, which made it 24. So the issue of 24 boxes comes from a specific number that was given to 3 people. Now, when they went on the first day to the registrar had, as far as anybody was concerned, 24 boxes. At the moment, the registrar is dealing with 34 boxes. 3 of those boxes were agreed at the time that they were repetitions, they were duplicates. So at the worst scenario is that you have 24 plus 7, even though the real scenario is you actually have 24 plus 10, of which we all accept, or I should not say we accept, but we know that, or we're told that 3 were duplicates. Now, the bottom line is that because these were put in various categories, we wanted a clear explanation. Nobody said why, if all of a sudden you could serve everybody 24 separate boxes because of the way you had actually categorized them, why is it that you all of a sudden have 30-something boxes? This is, yes. And nobody's saying that this person is, but there must be an explanation.
Is that the reality, what he's saying? Is that what actually happened?
You see, Evans, this is a mischief behind the whole thing. You see, the man already is complaining that I was short-served, that what you gave me is even less. So, how then do they come to the conclusion that now the boxes in the registry is 24, and whatever has been added on is an excess? Are you getting my point? He is already saying that I have been short-served. What I have is not up to the number that you were supposed to serve me.
But based on only boxes.
No, you see, no. You see, the point I just want to make is that how did the respondents come to the conclusion that the figures have been increased? How? Because if you are already saying that, look, what I received is even less. What I receive is not a figure which you are saying that you supply the court, based on which now there's an order of the court to go and make a count. How do you not come to a conclusion that now...
My learned friend, you're even in more difficulty. You know
why? I want you to finish the point.
Let me make my point. Let me make my point. But the point I just want to make simply is that I think that basically the statements that, the numbers were not up to the figure and all those things, to me, I think it's just, it's an allegation which I just want to discount it. At the end of the day, if KB comes up with this report And then they will say, well, these are where the figures supplied to the court. This is what we are working with. We all move on.
You have an interim report, I understand, that you're supposed to comment on. Do you know if it confirms your case? Well,
the interim report that is available now has given certain figures. But because we are now waiting for the checks,
for the control.
We are waiting comment on that one for the moment.
Okay,
that's fine. So we are waiting comment on that one.
That's fair.
But on a more pressing matter, let's come into the matters which are before the court. Because it's still sub judice.
Let's wrap up on the boxes and pink sheets.
Can I just make one
Let him wrap up, and then we'll move on to the substantive issues and the issues that have come up.
Pink sheets, we are talking about just numbers, but pink sheets is actually votes. It's votes of people. And these votes are to be added together for the case to be said that deduct this amount, deduct that amount. So just saying, oh, look, it's a trivial matter. It's the heart of the matter. It's the heart of the matter. Are you asking me to deduct 10 or are you asking me to deduct 5? If you have 10 pink sheets and it comes to 100, then I know I'm deducting 100. But if I then find that it's not 10 you have, it was 7 you had, and it's now 80, it means I'm supposed to be deducting an 80 if you can even prove that is your case. So the number of pink sheets is crucial. It has, and that is your case. You are the petitioners. So are you saying at the moment, if KPMG comes back and says that, oh, look, you didn't get 11,000. Actually, the papers you sent us were 13,000. So you don't even know how many papers you sent. You've got it muddled. Then, actually, when you break it down, the actual figure is 9,000. Are we now going to wait for them to say, well, this came from this section, this came. So now we do the addition, and so now our case is this. It is. We don't have to say, as respondents, we can easily say, look, no. This is a very exact science. Before you come to the court and allege, which is what was their initial allegation, and change. Conspiracy theories, people have come together to this thing. Before you, and I agree that they've changed the tone now. They say NDC is not, the president is not their problem. They are working on the EC. There's no fraud alleged against the president. This was Bahumia's evidence itself. So when you get to this stage, you must at least know your case. And I'm saying that they have stuck to the 11,100, 300 and something sheets. That is their case. If it comes as less, who are we supposed to wait for them to go and prepare it and come back again? Evans, that's what I'm saying.
I guess the Supreme Court will decide. But respond to that for me and move on to the key issues.
But let me a little quick rebuttal. You see, I have a difficulty with trying to comprehend what Mr. Sebefia is saying.
Yeah.
You see, if the figures, so to speak, granted that they are even 10,000.
Yeah.
Sorry, 10,000.
9,000.
No, you said 9,000. Whatever the figure is.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Let us not forget about the key issues before the court. Whether or not there were more practices, violations, irregularities in the elections, and whether these had any effect at all on the elections. If the figures so determined that the various irregularities have got an effect on the results, the court will just say because the figure that you brought to court is not enough, and therefore, having effect means that somebody did not get 50% plus 1.
Do you think that the first hurdle has been indeed declared?
No, it's the issues.
The two hurdles here. You mentioned them.
Yes.
One, were there statutory violations,
Exactly.
etc., and did they affect the outcome of the results? Do you think that first hurdle has been?
But if you look at the evidence being proffered by Dr. Faijan, clearly, the man sits there and says that, look, in these elections, you have presiding officers who did not sign the pink sheets. Even we ourselves, we have identified over 900 and something plow that were not signed. And that is a constitutional violation. It is found in Article 49 that the presiding officer shall sign. And the shall in the Interpretation Act, and Section 42, is a mandatory provision. Shall is not permissive. Shall, you are not obliged to, you must sign. And they signed to validate the results. He has said it himself. Nobody said it for him. He again says that, look, the rules of engagement that we went to the elections, we all said that, look, as we are going, no verification, no vote. People have gone in and they have voted in elections, they were not verified. He said it. And if you give the example of Nana, or a chief, who is notoriously known in an area, when he said, well, we all know him, so you can come and vote, because we know you. He said it himself.
Then that reference was not anecdotal. They actually referring to a case that I think your own lawyer had referred to as something that indeed happened. in the northern region.
Yes, yes, but in evidence in chief, he himself affirmed. You see, there are two things here. One, EC says that everybody was verified. That's why they were trying to bring in this smuggled document of the supplementary affidavit about this information on the biometric voter machine, BVD machine, which was, expunged by the court because, well, they were not part of the case anyway. So the court didn't allow it to go in. They have said that everybody was verified. But on the flip side, they also say that some people voted without verification. So, two different statements being made here, conflicting statements. Which one do we accept? You're
getting an indication of what your address might be.
Again, we are here, all right? Look at the power of the presiding officer. The officer who is not more or less like the president in the polling station.
Or the Afarijan, right?
Or the Afarijan, more or less, in the polling station. You understand? There is a man who is there who can tell you, look, you are even misconducting yourself. The Afarijan's own testimony, and can walk you out of the polling station. This is a man who has to validate the results. This is a man who must do A, B, C, D even before the papers are thrown and then counted. The man, you see, so what has happened now? He himself has admitted that there were even errors on the face of the pink sheet. Now, my brother, we tax you to go and run an election for the people of Ghana. And then you come and say that when I look on the face of the pink sheet, I see errors. And these errors are transpositional errors, clerical errors, errors of my staff. And again, you go and say that I admit I take responsibility for the errors of my people. What are you saying?
He says you should also take responsibility.
And again,
for your own agents who were at the polling station.
But our agents did not validate results. Our agents did not validate any result over there. The result were by the EC's officials. Again, you are asked, these errors so-called, did you check the errors before the declaration? He says no. Did you see the pink sheet before declaration? He says no. That means the declaration was made with the errors embedded in them. That's the implication.
Let me bring in Alex.
You understand?
You can't deny the strong points. We'll take a break shortly, but wrap it up. You can't deny the strong points he's raised, can you?
I don't see any strong points he's raised at all. Because actually, Dr. Afarijan has been an exemplary witness in terms of the job that he does and the details that are involved in it. You can tell that this is a man who is spot on with regard to his job, as far as I'm concerned, for now. Sometimes people don't understand a system. He answers the question how he understands it. And then later, we all get to understand what actually he's talking about. And the classic example of that was when he was asked about C1 and C3. And everybody had assumed, many, that C3 should be part of C1. And then he made it crystal clear that no. If C3, somebody is entered in C3, it cannot be part of C1 because that person's name would never have been in the register. That is why it would have been from A1s to help you identify the person and let the person vote without his name being on the register. So by doing so, when you really want to know the total number of people who voted, you will have to add C3 to C1 to get the total number, which will be more than the figure that will be on the register. Because those are people who, that figure is supposed to represent people who did not have their names in the voter register. They had been expunged. But because the decision was taken that they were not going to take any, A1 forms there, the advice was everybody should put 0 in that box. So ab initio, when you look at that box and there's a figure in it, you must assume that it is already an error because that was not even the instruction you were given. Then he also says that look at the whole pink sheet. Don't look at just the figure. Look at the whole pink sheet. And even in some cases, you have to go outside the pink sheet to actually decide what has really happened. Because the pink sheet is actually made of 2.
But he asks a very important question.
Yes.
Which is, yes, the point you've made.
Yes.
But in terms of the actual declaration,
yes,
did the EC have time to spot all these mistakes, if indeed there were, correct them before the declarations were made?
Evans, when your agents get to the polling station, everybody has a register. As people vote, they are allowed to look and see how people are ticked and get their votes on. When the pink sheet, the declaration part, because you see, the pink sheet was 2 sheets before, They've combined the 2 sheets into one. But the headings are still separate. They have not yet challenged, once, as far as I'm concerned, anything to do with the declaration points. They have challenged things that have happened in the accounting place. And the accounting place, the agents don't actually take part in filling it out. It's the presiding officer who fills out all that. But when it comes to the accounting section, where the agents are part and parcel and sign that, yes, these figures that you have put there are accurate, nowhere has it been challenged. I haven't yet seen a single challenge on that section of the sheet. So, Afarijan's case is very simple. If you have got concerns about what happened, 1, don't sign. 2, raise them. In terms of, as you were watching, when they said that these people, number of people vote, but according to my book, we were 200, and you have just indicated by this addition, it's 250. No, I can't sign. There are more people. Let's go back. There was ample opportunity, and everybody is there with their calculator and their paper, and you got your own register. No single person has come to challenge that second part of the sheet. Everything has to do with the accounting irregularities. Yet, if you want to know the truth, why then is it that when we bring a printout of the actual machine that tells you how many people voted at a particular police station, you say objection, because we didn't. Are we after the truth or not? Because that's the absolute truth.
Because the machine
will tell you exactly how many people, whether it was manipulated, it will tell you how many people voted or didn't vote. The printout will tell you. When we asked for that to be put in evidence, you said no. You did it because why? We haven't gone through this process. It hasn't been intended. Fine. Are you after the truth as to really what happened at the polling stations, or are you now trying to win the case based on technicalities? You see, this and let me be clear. This pink sheet is in 2 parts. You are saying that this is the gospel according to the pink sheet. There are problems in the bottom part, which is where the declaration is made, and your agents have all signed, all of us have signed to say that these figures are correct before the man announces that this is what has happened. You haven't challenged that part. Now, if the pink sheets, let me go to the point of stretching their argument to its logical conclusion. Everything on the pink sheet, look at it and be sure. So this part of the pink sheet is wrong, out. But okay, I then say that the pink sheet is in 2 parts. So show me which is wrong on this part. Because if you can't, then everything there is correct. And that says Mahama won. When you add everything, that part, which nobody has challenged yet, when you add it all, if you are going according to the gospel, according to the pink sheet, this part of the pink sheet, which is a different part from this, nothing has changed. Nobody has shown a single fault in that, except that you are saying people didn't sign, presiding officers. Which means that the whole case of Ghana is going to decide whether presiding officers signed or not. And Afarijan explained this. He said if you leave that power to a presiding officer to sign, what will happen is that if you have an ability to influence that person, and the person knows that this person has won or that person, he has a particular bias,
get him not to sign.
He won't sign. And then all of a sudden, all those sheets become this thing. So it cannot be the basis. If others have signed to show that this is what the count was, to disenfranchise Ghanaians who have voted at that polling station.
We'll take a short break. We'll come back. I'll give you the opportunity to respond to that. Then we'll answer that quickly. The conduct of some of the judges, indeed, not judges, the conduct of the lawyers involved in this case. I'm talking about all the lawyers for the respondents and the petitioners. We'll add that to that equation and wrap it up all. Then we'll go to the Interministerial Task Force. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. With me in the studio, leading member of the NDC, Alex Segbefia, also lawyer for and a member of the NPP legal team, Gary Mafo. Gary, we wanted to respond to a number of points you raised, particularly this separation he tried to draw between 2 parts of the pink sheet, etc.
You see, Mr. Segbefia was making very interesting points here. You see, let me be quick and make this in 1 minute. You see, when you have a garbage in a computer, what do you get out? It's a garbage out. If you have been given figures to tabulate, and at the top figure you have wrong figures over there, there's an effect on those figures on the one beneath. That's why we're seeking to challenge the ones at the top first. before we count the ones beneath. So there's no point in saying that, well, we haven't gone down there. We haven't ended our cross-examination, have we? We have not ended. Now, if the figures at the top there, the C1, the C3, all those figures are all wrong over there, and you're telling us that, well, we haven't gone down, so we are finished. No, we haven't finished. So that's the point I want to let you understand. Now, on the issue of the BVD machine, let me, you see, when the elections were conducted, you remember the party chairman wrote to Dr. Afarijan. That's two things.
That's Jake.
Yes, that they want an audit of the BVD machine. And two, they want a recollation of the entire figures across the nation. Because the figures that we're getting at the headquarters were not consistent with the figures which Afarijan was announcing. And that even called for a meeting between the National Peace Council and all the other political parties and the stakeholders.
Yeah. Afarijan read that in court. Read a letter in court that asked that.
Good. Dr. Afarijan, at that time, did not do it.
He actually explained it in court again why he did it.
He did not do it.
That it would have taken months.
4 months.
To complete
Evans,
that.
at that time, the evidence was primary, it was fresh. He didn't do it. 6 months down the line, when you have told them go to court, and they have gone to court. 6 months down the line, when it's a machine, electronic machine, when you can tamper with the evidence, you now want to bring the thing in at this time? No way.
But you raised a very important point. But your own lawyers never referred back to the point you just raised about the fact that Afarijan himself had turned down our request to look at the BVD machines.
No, because
he never touched it.
No, because you see in court, you limit yourself to the pleadings.
Thank you.
All right, and that's why in court it was said clearly that look, this is not part of your case.
But Afarijan had read from a letter that talked about the request.
Yes.
That again he went on to actually now add his own reaction to the letter.
Yes.
So clearly, from the witness's point of view, that was referred to.
No. But was it
educated me. This is an uneducated point.
Okay, fine. So let me just make the point. You see, one, we call something pleadings that you must put that written down on paper.
This is what you were. Your case.
Your case. Yeah. All right. Now, when you are leading evidence in chief, whatever you have not put down in your case, you can't lead evidence on them. You cannot. Whatever you have not written down on paper, you can't lead evidence on them.
Are you admitting that you didn't do a good job in putting your case before them?
They did not write that on paper. You see, they did not. They did not. The EC never, in their pleading, stated that they were going to tender the BVD information. They never said it. It was not written down in their case. Now, subsequently, when Dr. Afarijan has finished giving his evidence in chief, and then under cross-examination, at that time he's closed his case. At a cross-examination, then Mr. Lither was trying to bring that document in under cross-examination. And that was entirely wrong. So entirely wrong. You understand? Because they are going to swear a supplementary affidavit. They have not sought the leave of the court to even bring that document at all. You must come and canvass for leave of the court. For the court to get you leave to file a document. They didn't do that. Now they want to come to the back door to put a document in like a smuggled document. And that was objected by the court and thrown outside. So clearly, nobody can teach the EC how to do his case. But if you wanted to rely on the BVD information, you ought to have pleaded it in your document. You didn't plead it. So you can't lead evidence on them. So
I think that there's a point
very
which I
final
should make
comment on this.
for both of us.
Well, so let me
you want to finish? Okay.
Now, going further, you see, Dr. Afarijan made a very important statement in court about the documents that were ordered, the pink sheets. They ordered 27,000. And at the time of going to the poll, it was settled that indeed the candidates were 8. All right? But he had made a subsequent order of an additional 27,000, which were coming. And when it came, please let me finish.
I'll kindly ask you to note it so when you get it and then you correct it.
The figure is 27,000 times 2 plus 2 is 54,000. Is that not so? Now, when these pink sheet came in, he deployed, according to him, he deployed the second batch. Now, this second batch is where most of our problems lie. The duplicate pink sheets, which were deployed, according to him. That's why he said we are causing financial loss to the state. Because if indeed it was settled that 8 were going to the pool, what was the basis for deploying additional 27,000, some of them, on the market? How? It's reasonably not to me, not appropriate unless we're going to do some mischief. And this is where most of our problems are.
Okay.
You understand?
Let me get...
And the figures of these pink sheets, some of them have been substituted for the original ones.
Okay, let me get Alex to finally comment on that.
It's
Let's move
very
on
important that my colleague actually...
topic.
I don't think or let me say my understanding of the evidence that came out. Dr. Farijan said, look, we placed an order for booklets of 18 pages for 27,000 copies. The guy said, if you write on it, it will not go to the bottom. So they split it into two, 9,000, 9 sheets, 9 sheets. So the order was already there that they were going to print 54,000 booklets on the basis that if, for example, you had 10, or let's say 15 contestants, you would put 9 in one and you would put 4 on the second, because 2 booklets for every polling station, because all the 15 contestants could not have been in that polling station on one book. So each polling station would have got 2 books. And you would have had 27,000 or 26,000 polling stations with 2 books each had you had more than 10 or 9, what's it called? And the order was already placed. Templates waiting. The only thing they are waiting for is now for your names. By the time they had gone through the process of deselecting and disqualifying 6 of them, 4 of them went to court, 2 threatened but didn't go. The final number that was allowed was now 8. So they sent the 8 to the printer. The printer now has supposed to print 2, but now he has the 8. So all he does is he ran his press twice. Put the 8 names in this one, ran them, 27,000. Put the 8 names in it again, ran it. So now you still have the same 2 booklets, but they are the same books. But one is 1 to 27,000, the other 2 is 1 to 27,000, because for the EC, the number or the serial number on the pink sheet is neither here nor there. He could have decided to say A1, A2, up to this, or he could have even decided all these 27,000, I will take them to 27,000 printers wherever. Each of them should print 1 to 1,000 for me. And then, because all the EC wants to know at the end of the day is that you brought me 54,000 books because that is what I have paid before. So once they brought all of them, and he's given the impression that an order was placed and then an order was placed. That's not my understanding. The order had already been placed, waiting for the templates. The printing came, and all the 54,000 booklets arrived. Now, because there is no significance of the pink sheets in the, to the EC, when they say send a batch to Volta, send a batch to Ashanti, they come and pick the boxes. Some will pick from here, some will pick from here, some will pick from here, because the number of the serial number is neither here nor there till you input the name of the... So all we are waiting for from their side is to show 2 pink sheets where the details on the pink sheets in terms of the polling stations and everything is the same, but the figures have been doctored. Then you show, and they brought it, and the ones they have brought, every single one shows that it is a special voting center. Because the special voting centers, they use the same code for special voting as this. Only they will put special voting on the sheets. So every 2 sheets you get, which are supposed to be the same, one is special voting, one is the normal voting. So you have not yet been able to produce to us any 2 pink sheets.
With same serial number?
No. Same serial number is not because
different results?
You are giving a significance to the serial number.
Different results?
We are talking, yes, because...
Same with different results. Same police station.
I can have a pink
same
sheet.
police station.
I can have
different results.
Yes. Why?
Yes, same police station, different results.
Yes. Why would it not have different results? If one is special voting and the other is not special voting, it will have different results.
Very interesting controversial
That's what I'm
points.
saying.
But
if you don't,
I've just been informed that I have 3 minutes to wrap up. Okay. So I know this is a pretty heated conversation. Next week, Monday, obviously, the court will come back on the 24th. Let's spend the next 2 minutes I have to wrap up on the next topic, and I'm sure there are issues there, but we don't have the time to look into the detail. I'm talking about the Interministerial Task Force. I don't know, Gary, what you make of the work so far of the task force to deal with the Galamsey issues. We've had DCs, etc., arrested, accusations of abuse of human rights. Very, very briefly, just wrapping up.
Okay, you see, Evans, this kind of the Galamsey business, I think, is really a serious matter. You see, it is a matter which I think it should be apolitical. You know why? Because it doesn't matter whether it's for NDC or MPP. If the land has been degraded, degraded, it affects everybody. But let's look at the matter in a much more careful manner. You see, we have had reports that DCs, MCs are taking bribes and being implicated.
Some indeed have been arrested.
Yes, they have been arrested.
Yes,
you see,
two of them.
That's more or less, seeks to impugn on the work of the task force.
Why?
More or less, because at the end, if there should be people who should assist the task force. If they are taking bribes.
But doesn't this rather say that the task force is doing well, that they're actually arresting people who
but
are
the
supposed to be
DCs,
powerful?
MCs, are they not government officials?
Well, they are officials who
Yes.
stay at that local level.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It's a serious matter. It's very serious. If they are taking bribes and they are implicating the work of the body, it's a very serious matter. We also heard about Hansol people, some of the workers being killed. I heard it yesterday. Some of them are being killed, and even Hansol officials also saying that they are paying bribes.
Yeah.
They are also paying bribes.
Well, those two DCs they pointed to have been picked up.
Yeah,
but my final question to you, just
Yes.
to wrap up, is this an approach that will bring some finality to dealing with this Galamsey problem? Very briefly, do you think?
Well,
this
I think there must. Well, this is one way, but there must be a much more holistic approach to the problem. You see, I think that the chiefs in the communities, our own people. How did a Chinese man in China get to know that there's a site in Bogosho that there's a mine site that to go and mine? Our own people are also involved in the matter, so there must be a holistic approach to this problem so that we all as a nation will safeguard our land.
Okay, Alex, your view on that?
Well, I think that actually I'm very pleased with the work of the task force at the moment. And the reason I say so is that it would have been easy to just bring out a number of people, arrest them, leave out any government officials, and parade them and do some kind of cosmetic type job. But on the face of it, at the moment, it doesn't appear to be cosmetic. It appears to be quite serious. Because we are taking on our own. If you fall into the net, they pick you up. The same thing has just happened at the port.
Yeah.
You understand?
A national security official.
People are being picked up.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean the person is guilty or not, but at least you have something to come and answer. Come and answer. They pick you up.
It seems to be happening across board.
Across
The GIPC,
board, yes.
people have been interdicted again.
It is
for
a
corruption,
fantastic phenomenon, and
revenue
we should
authorities.
encourage it. If we let this boat slip, we have a problem. We should encourage it seriously, because the cancer is such that it permeates across. It is not MPP and NDC, it's system. So if you have people who are prepared to challenge the system and take on even those who are said to be from your family in it as well, I can only sing praises. Let us hope that it is sustained. That is the because it's not going gold. Everybody is always looking for gold. It never goes. So it must be sustained, and we should then also start looking at legislation to back some of these actions that are going on, and also be alive to which we have done to the international dimension, because human rights, this, that, and the other, and some of these people are partners. But in terms of what is happening, and everybody is talking about electricity. People are talking about water. Go and look at the color of the water.
Yeah.
In Western region, I don't think there's a river now that is you can even.
Now we understand the Bui Dam itself. It's been mined and it's been muddy, so it's going to affect.
So I think that it's sustainability. They've gone on the right track. We should all encourage them, push them, let them do. Don't abuse the power, but use it. And once the message, I believe it strongly, that when you make 1, 2, by the time you get to the 4th example, the penny drops and everybody backs off.
At least on this subject, we have some consensus. The MPP and NDC agrees that at least it's a first good step to dealing with the corruption at all levels, but particularly at the level of mining when it comes to small-scale mining. Thank you very much for joining us here on Join Caucus tonight. You've heard Alex Segbafe, a leading member of the NDC, and Gary Emafo, a lawyer and a member of the NPP legal team. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
I think we're going to comment on the Matiamedus matter briefly.
Unfortunately, we're run out of time. This matter, indeed, will develop over the weekend. And next week, Friday, definitely, we will hear more. Martin, I know, is drafting a statement on this, and he will have his say. And we'll get more on this as it unfolds. So join us again next week as we look at all the other issues making the rounds from a purely political partisan point of view. My name is Evan Spencer.